The world's killer whales are in trouble, especially around the coast of Britain. Scientists have found that one of the UK's last resident killer whales, who was found dead on the shores of Scotland last year, had record amounts of a banned toxic chemical in her body. Scientists say the levels of the man-made chemicals, known as PCBs, were among the highest ever recorded. Our science correspondent Rebecca Morell has more.
They're the UK's last killer whales. Found off the west coast of Scotland, today this pod has just 8 animals, but they're in trouble. Last year the group lost a female. Lulu was found dead on the shores of the Inner Hebrides. She'd become caught up in fishing line.
So this is Lulu's skull, this is the head.
Her skeleton's now stored at the National Museum, Scotland. Tests show she was heavily contaminated with man-made chemicals called PCBs.
The levels that we found in Lulu were 20 times higher than the levels that we would expect in cetaceans that weren't suffering any effects of PCBs. That puts her as one of the most contaminated animals on the planet.
In killer whales, the chemicals can stop the animals from bearing young. They harm the immune system and also the brain. For Lulu, one theory is that the PCBs may have severely impaired her intelligence, perhaps leading to her deadly entanglement in the fishing nets.
Here in the laboratory, the curing effect of heat is shown.
PCBs were once man-made wonder chemicals, used in everything from plastics to electrics. But it was later discovered they were toxic, and from the 1970s, a series of bans around the world were put into place. But they've stuck around, especially in landfill sites that contain the materials they were once used in. Today, the PCB problem lives on, especially in our oceans. The chemicals are long-lasting, they don't break down easily, and it's estimated that there's still more than 1 million tonnes of contaminated material in Europe. And this is leaching from the land into the sea and on into the marine food chain. Some scientists say more needs to be done to clear PCBs from the environment, but UK officials say levels are declining.
The controls we have in place is working. It's just that they take a very long time to disappear, and they're probably disappearing into the sediment at the bottom of the sea. And occasionally when that sediment is stirred up, it brings them back to the surface. So it's going to take a very long time for them to disappear completely.
PCBs are a global concern, but with so few killer whales left in the UK, it's a problem that's sharply felt. It's likely the rest of Lulu's pod is also heavily contaminated, making their future very uncertain. Rebecca Morell, BBC News.
We have got the business news and a look at the international newspaper headlines coming up. But first, let's have a look at the weather where you're watching us from today.